Okay, welcome this morning. Call the meeting to order, and we do have a quorum. All three commissioners are present. And at this time, let's see, who would we like to have the flag salute?
How about Steve Copa?
Steve? Come on in, flag salute. You probably haven't done this. You probably haven't done this for a while, have you?
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Steve, you probably wasn't prepared for that. Probably high school days, right? Anyway, no, it's all good. Thank you very much.
I move that we approve the minutes of April 10th, 2017.
Second.
A motion is made and second to approve the April 10th, 2017 minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed. Public comment. Is there anyone? No. Okay.
I move that we accept the proclamation recognizing April 22nd, 2017 as Earth Day.
Second.
Okay. Melanie? And thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
And all your wonderful guests.
Yes.
So I'm Melanie Case. I'm the Recycling Program Coordinator for Lewis County Solid Waste Utility, which is a division of Lewis County Public Works. And I'll read the proclamation for Earth Day. And I appreciate that it's done on a nice earth-friendly and Earth-themed piece of paper. Whereas the first Earth Day was celebrated on April 22nd, 1970, with the goal of inspiring environmental awareness and encouraging conservation, protection, and appreciation of our nation's natural resources. And whereas it is the responsibility of each of us to safeguard the environment by recognizing that all human life depends on the earth and upon one another for our mutual existence, well-being, and development. And whereas the steps we take to protect and preserve our natural environment through education, partnerships, and positive actions should be encouraged. And whereas the citizens of Lewis County are committed to the protection and preservation of our environment and the restoration of ecosystems and habitat. And whereas Lewis County citizens, staff, elected officials work closely with federal, state, and local governments, Centralia College, local business, and non-government organizations to develop and implement programs designed to preserve and improve Lewis County's fragile ecosystem and the quality of life therein. And whereas the Lewis County Solid Waste Utility has joined forces with Centralia College to host an Earth Day celebration from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., April 21st at Centralia College, as well as 2 additional special recycling events during Earth Week, styrofoam recycling at the transfer station from 7:30 to 5:30, April 22nd, and tire recycling at the Old Winlock Solid Waste Drop Box from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., April 20th, 21st, and 22nd. And whereas Lewis County recognizes all who participate in Earth Day for their dedication to taking a proactive role in shaping the future of our environment and protecting Lewis County's precious natural resources. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lewis County Board of County Commissioners hereby proclaim April 22nd, 2017 as Earth Day in Lewis County, and urges all of our citizens to be mindful of local, state, and national laws which protect our environment, and the BOCC invites all to join in efforts to preserve the beauty and wonder of the lands, skies, and water of the earth in all its diversity. Done in open session the 17th day of April, 2017.
Thank you very much. And do we have...
And you have some folks you want to?
I do. So I have just a short presentation, and I'd like to move this a little bit so I'm not blocking everybody, if I can.
Sure.
I think I got it. Okay, well, thank you for proclaiming Saturday, April 22nd as Earth Day in Lewis County to kick off this week's Earth Day events. Earth Day was founded in 1970 by Wisconsin Senator Gaylord Nelson as a national teach-in. And I do have a PowerPoint if you want to put up the first slide. As a national teach-in on the environment. By raising public awareness of our air and water pollution, Nelson hoped to bring environmental awareness to the national spotlight. Looking toward the 47th annual celebration of Earth Day, we realize this has become a national celebration, but today we want to bring the focus closer to home. We have students, coworkers, volunteers, and business leaders quietly caring for the earth on their own, in their own way, and making a big difference. And in many cases, they're receiving statewide accolades. And I'd like to share a few of those stories with you today. And a lot of times those statewide accolades take place across the state, and I don't know that people in Lewis County get to hear about them. So our office, the Solid Waste Utility, issued a call to local student teachers to have their students create some posters in honor of Earth Day with the theme "Every Day is Earth Day in Lewis County." And we'll have the next slide. From Winlock Miller Elementary School, Mrs. Matheson's first grade students put on their thinking caps and created from their hearts, the hearts of stewards of the environment. The posters with messages ranging from plant trees and plants to make clean air, ride a bike instead of a car, and recycle your paper, plastic, and glass will be on display at the Earth Day celebration at Centralia College. And these are the winners. So Cullen Palin McBee got first place, Laura Singh second place, and Kaylee Terry third place. So I do have their award-winning posters right here, and I have all the other students' posters out on the table out in front. The next slide is three groups who have received some statewide awards from the Washington State Recycling Association, and that's a statewide group. It's a nonprofit member organization that's been dedicated to supporting waste reduction, recycling, reuse, and composting in Washington State since 1976. Each year they select Recyclers of the Year in various categories, and they honor these groups at their annual conferences, which are held at various locations. And this year I'm pleased to announce that Toledo Elementary School will receive the 2016 Recycler of the Year Award for Education at their conference next month. And one of our WSU Lewis County Master Recycler Composters and Master Gardeners, Bob Taylor, he's with us today. And he was very instrumental in starting this program at Toledo Elementary, so I'd like to invite him up here to say a few words about the program and how they got their award.
And his picture's in there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Melanie.
Absolutely.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Good morning.
We've been at Toledo Elementary for about 6 years. We went there initially with the prospect of trying to augment their science program. This is just a K through 5 school. We found after the first year that the teachers were augmenting what we were doing, and we started focusing on nutrition, but also you had all the basics in recycling. And little did we know, as we grew, the kids were in fact doing better in school. We knew we were on the right track 2 years ago when the statewide test for fourth graders, they went from the 40th percentile to the 80th percentile. Ooh. Okay, we just found out in January that they went from, when we started there, they were a failing school, on the watch, lowest 5%. You don't improve, the state can take you over. But they notified us in January that they're now a school of distinction, which means you're toward the top 5%, which is a tremendous turnaround. And it's the kids that did the work, but again, we were there helping them, supporting them, helping the teachers, and more importantly, building some pride in the school, but also in the community. One thing, having been a parent, still a parent, you never want to send your kid to a failing school. Okay? That's just a fact of life. And so now, as people search out schools and they can proclaim that, yes, we are recognized in the state of Washington as a school of distinction, that does tremendous amount of uplifting for the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So these are some pictures from the Toledo Elementary Schools program, and it is the full cycle, and Bob and his volunteers are in the classrooms 9 months out of the school year teaching. And one of the things I thought was most wonderful is the students are learning everything from getting the soil healthy, harvesting their own seeds to plant the next year, planting those seeds, caring for them, and learning how to take care of plants without chemicals. And then at the end of the year, they have a celebration where they harvest all of the things that they've grown in their gardens. And the rule is, if you want like the wonderful dessert that's the rhubarb, custard, or crunch, you've got to try everything that comes out of the garden. So our second statewide award winner, Steve Copa, he's the owner of Northwest Tub Company, Shed Shop, and Across the Street Antiques. He was recognized by the Washington State Recycling Association in 2015 in the category of reuse. And he shows the power of one person. He's one person in Centralia, but he's made such a big impact on the earth and the environment. In his 19 years in business, he's diverted 10,000 doors, 5,000 clawfoot tubs, 2,300 sinks, 45,000 windows, and numerous other building materials. And those are just totally rough estimates. And I'd like Steve to come up and talk a little bit about how he reuses items and some of his wonderful sheds that he's made out of old materials.
Hi, Commissioners.
Hi.
you.
Thanks for having me. Well, I started my business out of my yard, and I started it by selling clawfoot bathtubs because I was selling floor covering, and I was going around to all the houses and farms, and I started seeing them out in the fields and next to the garages and not being used. So I started grabbing them and restoring them and selling them. And then I graduated to getting a space downtown. I was in the old Matt's building, which has since burned down, but now I'm across the street from the Olympic Club. And I've been there, I think I've been in that building for about 14 years, but I've been downtown for 19 years now. And so we kind of specialize in pre-40s building salvage. Well, along the way, I started seeing all this wood, and I started seeing old windows and doors and all that kind of come along with it. And so what I did is I started building things out of those materials. And I like to garden, and I grew up in a family where we spent a lot of time in the yard, and everything was nice. And so I thought, well, everybody wants a little garden shed, so I started building these little sheds. And you can see a few pictures here. We just finished number 99 and number 100, and I've been building them for 10 years now. And it started out I started doing kind of just easing into. I did one a quarter basically, and in 14 months we built 37 sheds. So we were cranking them out there for a while. I had people working for me, helping me, and it's really stimulating for me to reuse all this old wood and things that people are tossing. We, as you can see, the sheds that we build are built out of natural wood that's never been stained or finished, kind of weathered looking, and then we also use wood that's been painted. What we do is we encapsulate everything, we clear coat it afterwards, and we kind of go towards the look of keeping it like you can't tell that it was just built. I don't use sheetrock screws. I don't use anything that indicates that it was just constructed. I try to cover my cuts. I make everything look like it was done back then, and it's just been a fun business. We use old corrugated tin for the roofing. We use all reclaimed 2x4s for our structure. We use 2x6s for the floors, And the only thing that I really have to buy new is I use a pressure-treated direct-to-ground 4x6 for the skids, and then I use tar paper for weather proofing and keeping the air from wind running through it. But anyway, it's been a lot of fun, and I kind of feel like the whole purpose of doing it was, you know, to try to save things. And other people started noticing that we were doing that. So now that I'm trying to gather more materials, people are bringing the materials to me. And it's kind of nice because hand-in-hand recycling and the solid waste, Melanie, I kind of, one day I went into the dump and I was up on the deck and I was dumping some stuff and I saw this contractor with one of those big expensive dump trailers. He was dumping what the leftovers of a deck was, and 2x6s, 4x4s, whatever. They were all treated. And I looked over at him and I yelled at him and I go, man, that's some good wood you're throwing away there. And he goes, yeah, time is money. And he was dumping, you know, lifting his trailer and dumping it on the deck there. And it kind of made me mad. And so I went down and that's how I found Melanie. And I went down to the trailer down there and I walked in there and I go, you guys should go up there. I don't even know who was in there. I just walked in the door and I go, you guys need to go up there and look on your deck up there and just see what a contractor just dumped on your deck up there. And they're like, what? You know, like it was some kind of chemical waste or something, you know. And I said, he dumped all the remains from a deck. Well, you know, in this climate around here, what happens with our decking is that it starts to get weathered and worn looking on the top. But if you were to tear a top board off and flip it over, it's brand new looking on the other side. And so I look at wood like that, like that's totally reusable. And it's not something that should just be tossed and shredded or whatever, chipped up or whatever. And so we use a lot of that material. And so it makes me kind of angry when I see that kind of thing happening. So I went down to the trailer there and I said, you guys need to go up there and see this. And so I explained myself and what I saw, and they said, well, you need to get a hold of Melanie. And so that's when I called Melanie, and we met across the street at the Olympic Club, and we talked about, you know, what needs to be done and how we can try to figure out how the material can be diverted from going up there. And so Melanie, you know, talked with her elders and figured it all out. In fact, she got a huge grant. How much was the grant anyway for the start off? Do you remember how much it was?
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. And so and started this program where if you go in, and I'm sure everybody knows, when you go in a dump off to the left, there's that area where you can dump your bottles and refrigerators and all that. Well, there's two covered areas now, two canopies, where you can, if there's something that you think that can be reused, then you go around and put that underneath there for free. And it's left there for somebody for free. And so anybody can stop and grab it, whatever. And so, you know, that's diverting something from the landfill. We're trying to figure out how we can do something where we can divert the contractors from dumping all their materials. And that's going to be a big feat because, as you know, they're having their laborers load up, tear stuff down, and then go and dump and all that. So that's, you know, something that I'd like to see done with that. But I'm just trying to do my thing. You know, it's like, you know, we sell a lot of bathtubs. We sell a lot of lighting, we sell a lot of doors and windows, and I always try to sell stuff, but when I see something cool, I put it together as a package and I build something myself, you know, so it's kind of, everybody does something for a reason. I do it because I just feel like I'm just trying to save this stuff from going to the dump, you know. It's just, to me, it's simple, so. Anyway, thank you. And I guess the reason why we're up here talking about this is I got recognized, and we went over to Wenatchee and I got an award for the state for all the content and tonnage that we diverted in 2015. And I know those numbers sound really high, but man, I tell you what, we sold 239 bathtubs last year. So you got to figure that one out. That's a lot of bathtubs. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Are you going to have your own TV show? I watch them all the time,
Get you on HTV.
so
So,
anyway.
so just Steve by himself, if we look at all those numbers, probably in his career, he's diverted nearly 10,000 tons of material from going into the landfill. And the program that he mentioned that got started at the transfer station, it's called the Reuse Center. And so anyone who has good reusable material can drop it off at the Reuse Center for no charge, and then other people who might need it can go get it for free. And it's really hard to keep track because sometimes great things come in and they go out just super quickly. So we estimate that that program diverts about 2 tons of material from going in the landfill to be buried forever. So finally, we have our 2014 Washington State Recycling Association Recyclers of the Year for nonprofit groups, and that was our own WSU Lewis County Master Recycler Composters. It's our volunteer program, and but also that wasn't the only award they got that year. Their president, Bob Taylor, also received an award for Nonprofit Educator of the Year from the E3 Washington program, or E3 Washington, and that's a state association for environmental and sustainability educators. But our volunteer program, we have some of our members here today in their green recycling shirts, and it's a partnership that our department has with WSU Extension. And each year, this group offers about 20 public workshops on backyard home composting, and soil health, and they also share their knowledge with our local high schools and community groups. And just last year, this group put in more than 1,000 volunteer hours of their own time to share their passion with 2,250 adults and children. And this program has been in place for more than 20 years. It's kind of ebbed and flowed with numbers of volunteers, but we estimate that more than 16,000 hours have been contributed to educating people in Lewis County on various environmental topics. And we have a number of our volunteers here today, so we'd like to have them stand and be recognized. And our part, if you guys could. And we do have, so I have my liaison with WSU Extension is Art Fuller. He's the coordinator for the Master Recycler Composters and also the Master Gardeners. So thank you guys for all your hard work. And so that was the award that sort of kicked off the Washington State Recycling Association, not just focusing on the big communities like King County, Pierce County, Spokane, looking around at some of the smaller counties that have great things going on. And so as you can see, many of these awards are connected by our Earth Day theme, but we also have people who care about the environment and its well-being, and so that's how it's connected with Bob being involved in both Toledo and the Master Recycler Composters. Steve coming to talk to me about maybe ways that we could change things at the transfer station. If each one of us decides to just take one small step, together those steps can add up to make huge differences. So I left you each a gift on your desks. One has a reusable lunch kit, a reusable water bottle, and a reusable coffee mug. So if you all put those into use, you'll be keeping lunch bags, single-use coffee cups, and plastic water bottles out of the landfill. So we just thought we'd give you a little push in the right direction to start on your one small step. And I challenge everyone here to come up with their one small step to help the environment and ask you, what will it be? And then I also have some information on our various events going on this week for Earth Day. I think we talked a lot about what's going on over at the college, just some fun things that might help you in your small step. If you bring a bag of clothing for reuse, you'll get an Earth Day t-shirt, and that's sponsored by our local recycling and garbage hauler, LeMay. The shirts are made partially out of recycled materials. You can bring in 10 plastic bags and get a reusable shopping bag, or you can bring in 10 water bottles and receive a reusable water bottle. And we also have sensitive document shredding going on at the college from 10 to 2 on Friday, and styrofoam recycling. And then we mentioned the tire recycling event this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday out at our Winlock drop box, and then there will be an additional tire recycling event out in Mossy Rock in May. So I'd be happy to answer questions, or I left my business card up here as well.
Is there any more individuals you'd like to introduce?
Well, I have our director, Eric Martin. Steve Skinner is our manager, and Donna Zuber is our wizard of everything in the office to help us get our environmental programs off the ground.
Thank you very much for all that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, a motion is made and second to approve a proclamation recognizing April 22nd, 2017 as Earth Day. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Melanie, and your staff. Thank you very much.
Good job.
Yes, we will use these. Thank you. I'm going to make a motion on the consent agenda, but I just want to note that at our wrap-up meeting this morning at 9, we removed item number 9, resolution number 17-114. It'll be showing up at a future agenda. So I move that we approve consent agenda items 2 through 8 and item number 10, resolution 17-107 through 113, and then 115.
Second.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Amanda Migliaccio, Financial Analyst in the Auditor's Office, Financial Services, speaking on item number 2, Resolution number 17-107. This is the weekly approval of warrants that were issued for the county. For the week of April 10th through the 14th, there were 338 regular warrants, which were numbered 767417 through 767754, with a total amount of $954,151.21. In addition, there were warrants numbered 767380 through 767416. These were issued on behalf of the special purpose districts by our office, and those warrants are approved by their commissions, and so they were just noted as a skip and sequence. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Lee Napier, Director of Community Development, speaking on agenda item number 3, Resolution 17108. So before you is an interlocal agreement, and this interlocal agreement relates to the Chehalis Basin communities who are all members of the Flood Authority. This particular agreement came before a prior board in 2008 following the 2007 flood event, where the communities came together to look at cost-effective ways to work together to reduce flooding. And so we are updating the agreement for a couple of reasons. One, it was written in 2008. A couple of communities have since joined on, Napavine, Cosmopolis,
Hoquiam.
and now Hoquiam. So the agreement is before you today, and I will say that the agreement is before you today with the board being the last party to sign, courtesy of Scott Betcher, who took the time to visit each one of those communities and ask that they sign on one piece of paper. So we have all of the signatures in one place. So I want to thank Scott for his effort to not only keep the Flood Authority in order and the local projects process easy to follow, but for this step as well. Any questions of me?
Thank you, and
Thank
thanks,
you.
Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Scott, that's a
Scott.
lot of work you've been doing. Thank you.
Moving on then, also related to the Flood Authority. Agenda items 4 and 5 are somewhat connected. The first item is Resolution 17-019, and this is a resolution for the Fourth Amendment to an interagency agreement related to Resource Conservation Office, or RCO. So this particular funding source is money that Lewis County administers on behalf of the Flood Authority as their fiscal agent. And the Flood Authority has asked us to add some additional work into the contract and resulting in additional money into the contract. So this particular contract increases the amount of the RCO grant by $61,595. And I'll talk about what that covers in the next slide.
Yes.
So then moving on to agenda item number 5, resolution 17-110 is a resolution to approve another supplemental agreement with West Consulting. So you hear West Consulting working on things related to the early flood warning system. And in this particular case, they're going to be working on behalf of the Flood Authority to reestablish some gauges. So they'll be replacing 2 new stream gauges on the Chehalis main stem and on the Skookumchuck River, all best serving the cities of Centralia, the community of Centralia, but also having basin-wide effects. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Archie Smith with Lewis County Human Resources. I'm here to discuss item number 6, resolution number 17-111. This resolution is to approve the initial placement of a casual community outreach worker on the county salary grid for non-union extra help employees. Danette York and the Department of Health has requested to hire a casual employee, and what we have is a casual grid, but sometimes when we look to hire casual employees, the casual grid is just not competitive enough. So we come off of that grid and we do a resolution to place them. This position here would place at a grade 15 on the salary grid for a community outreach worker, and that's what they are requesting to hire for their casual. Anything else?
Thank you, Archie.
Thank you, Archie.
Good morning, Commissioners. Eric Martin, Public Works Director and County Engineer. Speaking to agenda items number 7 and 8. Resolution 17-112, revising the existing policy regarding the services request and complaint handling procedure within the Public Works Department of Lewis County. So pursuant to WAC 136-50-050, in order to be compliant with the standards of good practice established by the County Road Administration Board, the County Legislative Authority shall develop by resolution some adopted policies. There's several of them there. And when I took this position and invited the County Road Administration Board to come down and visit with us, they took a look at those policies, and most of them they were pretty happy with. They did, as a recommendation, say that maybe we need to take a look at this one in particular about complaint handling, because it hadn't been updated since 1994. So my staff and I took a close look at that. And we did make some changes to it. They weren't drastic, and I think that the intent of the policy was being followed, but there was some updating to some of the outdated both names of the department. I think it was called the Public Services Department. It's now the Public Works Department, so that we updated that, and then we updated some references to some forms that we no longer use because we do a lot of this electronically now. So those are some of the minor changes in this policy. Do you have any specific questions about the policy?
Eric, I want to take a moment and just commend you for all of your hard work on this. I was up at the legislature with Commissioner Fund here a couple of weeks ago and ran into one of the CRAB board members, and they had nothing but glowing things to say about Lewis County. So thank you so much for all that you put into that.
Yes. Thank you. Item number 8, Resolution 17-113, resolution to approve the listing of bids received and contractor selected for the 2014 County Road Safety Improvements Project Phase 2. As I've mentioned a couple times before, this is not a 2014 project, but because of the federal funds involved, we didn't change the name. So this is Phase 2 of a safety project. And basically, what this is going to entail is some shoulder widening and flattening, some guardrail, and then a specific intersection improvement on three different roads within the county. So, a call for bids was made on March 13th. It was published in the East County Journal and the Daily Journal of Commerce. We opened bids on April 4th, and Peterson Brothers Incorporated provided the lowest responsive bid at $1,110,902.44, which I want to point out was only less than 1% different than what Tim Fife and Malcolm and the other engineers that worked on this in my department came up with as an engineer's estimate of $1,080,089. So they pretty much hit the nail on the head. So a lot of kudos to them for really good work. Any questions? Thanks.
Thank you, Eric.
And item number 10, a resolution to appoint Carolyn C.J. Neer to the Public Facilities District. And we're very excited to have C.J. on the Public Facilities District Board. Commissioner Jackson, since you served on that board, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
The Public Facilities District specifically has to do with the Northwest Sports Hub, and we have a board that oversees not necessarily the operations, but I think the PFD owns the building, and of course it's leased out to another group that provides an awful lot of activities there, sports activities, tournaments, and things like that. We basically now have practically a brand new board. Colonel Averill serves on that, Candy Hallam serves as well, Todd Chappett, Heather Stewart, and now C.J. Neer. We're very excited to have these folks on the board as we are looking to the future. There's some completion of that building that still needs to be made, but because of the amount of tournaments that are taking place there, it's bringing in quite a bit of LTAC money to the area, which is terrific for tourism. It's good for the economy. There's talk of expanding the building, and so we're going to look to the future to see how those things will transpire. But CJ, we're really excited to have you on this board. Thanks so much. Do you want to come and just speak for a couple of moments? No.
Too bad.
CJ Neer from Packwood. Thank you very much for the appointment. I believe that my involvement with the tourism industry in Lewis County will bring a unique view on how we can continue to move forward and changes and upgrades, etc. Thank you.
Thank you, CJ.
And you're
Appreciate all your help.
replacing a previous person who was from the East County area, so we appreciate your bringing that influence back to the board.
Thank you. Okay. The motion has been made and seconded to approve resolutions number 17-017 through 113, and then we did remove 114, so that is a total of, what is that, 7? 8? I have to do my math here. 8, I believe. Okay. Okay. Motion is made. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
With no further business, I move to adjourn.
Second?
Okay, a motion is made to a second, first and second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Adjourned. Thank you very much.
You are invited to immerse yourself in the beauty of nature in all four corners of Lewis County, Washington. From our fields to your table, farms in the west share their bounty. Limitless landscapes, forests and mountains beg to be explored in the east. Fish our many rivers and lakes in the south, and discover where history and culture intersect in our twin cities. Explore it all by visiting our Facebook page and plan your next getaway at discoverlewiscounty.com. Culture, history, and adventure all come alive when you discover Lewis County.